Man, we can't screw this up. We have easily the best broadcast of the year coming up. Easily. It's the most entertaining broadcast of anything that I can think of. I've interviewed the guys before, and they are hilarious. It might have been the best line anyone's ever used on my show. I remember him saying, she is stalking the dog like a cheetah in the Serengeti. You can't go wrong with that. We have non-Arch Manning jackassery. So a few levels of jackassery this week, but I'm here to tell you there was a sensible moment that happened this week in commenting about Arch Manning, the most hyped player the sport has known in decades. And then I can put it in perspective why it was a smart comment and how, he's got a perspective that's different than most people. Let me give you a setup here, though. And there was a podcast posted a few days ago because the Jerry Jones documentary is coming out on Netflix. If you throw up on your shoes a little bit, that's perfectly understandable. And, look, there's two sides to the Jones story, as most people know. And what's frustrating, and I think Cowboys fans and even Cowboys haters to some degree have noticed this. You could tell the Jones, I'm bigger than life, Trump-like mentality of I'm the genius, I'm the deal maker. You can go down that road. But to forget the general manager side of Jones is a terrible mistake. And somehow the noise of Jerry Jones, the personality, the noise of Jerry Jones, quote, the genius deal maker and the dude that's worth billions of dollars. The drama of Jerry Jones overshadows the general manager that is Jerry Jones. And it only took a couple of days for it to go to a new level. So let me set this up for you. And then you judge it however you would like. There are people that think, well, isn't that cool? And I think Jones himself believes this way. Isn't that cool? I have the highest paid players. That's cool. It makes me different. It makes me a genius, a deal-making genius. I guess if you want to think that, I'm happy to argue with you. So judge it however you would like. But I think it points out to the total incompetence of the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I said a few days ago, and I guess it's received some blowback, and a lot of people shockingly have agreed with me. But I said no owner in the NFL would continue to employ a general manager with the track record of the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody. Lousy franchises churn through decision makers regularly. Lousy franchises like the Browns, the Panthers, the Cardinals. They have general managers that have track records like this, and they get whacked every single time. So if the owner wasn't the same guy, he'd fire any general manager with a similar record. Okay, here's the setup. And I'm sure this is now going to be pointed out pretty soon, but I'd like to think maybe I'm the first that's noticed this. Jerry Jones let the Dak Prescott contract situation drag on, right? Dak Prescott was injured much of the year. It was a mess. I had made the suggestion that, listen, we have two options. He has a no trade clause, but you can talk him, if you wanted to talk him into it and say, look, Dak, this team is lousy. You don't have a whole lot of help. And there's not a heck of a lot I can do about that. But we're going to have to blow this thing up and start over. And I'd like you to go ahead and accept a trade. Go somewhere where you can win, man. I wish you the best. I mean, look, Dak Prescott is a decent guy. I call him the employee of the month every single month. So that was one option Jones had, was to convince him to take a trade him, get some players, blow the thing up, and start again. The other was to, if you're going to sign him, sign him. Okay? It's like waiting on real estate in West Austin. It's a pretty dumb move. The price is going to keep going up. And so Jones waited and waited. And people pointed out, don't wait. If you're going to sign the guy, all you're doing is making the price go up. Every quarterback that signs a new deal, you moron, the price is going to go up. And he waited, kept waiting. And sure enough, the price went up and he signed him and bragged about it. Okay, there's that. the longer it dragged on, the more money, because of the salary cap is predicated on money coming in. It's a perfectly reasonable setup. It's a revenue share model. More money comes in pro football, the players make more money. If you keep waiting around, the quarterbacks keep getting bigger and bigger contracts, your guy is going to get more expensive. And he waited and allowed him to become the most expensive quarterback in the sport per season. So he didn't execute that the right way at all. He got it all wrong. He could not have handled it any worse, to be honest. So he now has the most expensive quarterback in the game per year. Now, sooner or later, someone will pass that, but for right now, there's that. Now, I know you know that. I just want to use that as a backdrop. So the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys now faces the exact same issue now. And everybody saw it coming. In another, I'm sorry if this offends you, I don't know that I really care, but in a Trump-like move, I'm such a deal-making genius, the deal-making genius of the Dallas Cowboys is allowing the price tag on Micah Parsons to go up. I like thinkers, so I like Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, and I've thought about this for a couple of days. Old man, you're going to do the same thing you did with another player. You're going to do it with a defensive player.
J-Dog, why haven't the Cowboys signed Micah Parsons to a new long-term deal yet? Because that's what the Cowboys do, J-Dog. They drag their feet. And right now, there's no deadline. In the Cowboys' mind, they figure out what the deadline is. The latest possible deadline, that's when they do the deal. And unfortunately, it should be before the start of training camp. We've seen it with Ezekiel Elliott. We've seen it with CeeDee Lamb. We saw it with Dak Prescott. Even though Dak didn't hold out last year, they run it right up to the start of the season. So based on past activity, I'd be surprised if the Cowboys get a deal done with Micah Parsons before training camp starts.
Okay, we can stop there.
Hold in.
Okay. So you're thinking, well, man, Jeff, I don't care about that stuff. No. Do care, because I want to point out something amazing that I've just realized. that it's executed so poorly that if you're running this business, what you would do is you would walk down the hall and you would say, "Hi, general manager. I'm confused. You're in charge of football and deal making, right?" "Yes, sir, that's me. I'm the genius. I'm Trump-like." "Well, what are you waiting on? Because I don't know that much about, I'm speaking like an owner would. I don't know exactly how this stuff works. That's why I hired you, but, it doesn't take a genius to figure out, are we going to keep this star player or are we not going to keep this star player? Which one is it? Just whisper to me. Okay, we're going to keep him? I see. Well, why don't you freaking sign him then before he gets extra expensive? What are you waiting on? Oh, I got a plan. And then what you would say is, if you're the owner, you would say, okay, you got a plan? All right. Hey, bud, let me tell you something. Your plan better work, okay? Whatever it is you think you're going to figure out here, it better work. You need to be in the playoffs next year, or I will fire your ass. That's what an owner would do. So I want you to let this sink in. Just in, some sort of management perspective, finance perspective, you don't have to be a football fan to even appreciate this. There's a new standard in the NFL. And, one of the things about players, you're the 1% of anyone that plays the sport. Players in that sport, yeah, it's a ton of money. Some of them are making a ton of money. Most don't. Okay, I'm here to tell you, most don't last very long, but some make a ton of money. And one of the things about the money is I want to be the highest paid, not because another $5 million here or there is going to make that much of a difference in the life of a 27-year-old football player. But what he does say is, I'm the best at my position. And it means a lot to those guys. And if I owned a team, I'd want that to matter to them, not just the money. Okay, there's more money than a lot of those guys. Not a lot. There's not a lot that get super rich. Let me tell you, I think everybody thinks everybody's rich, but they are. The average career lasts 3 years. But the guys that are in that upper echelon, they get those second contracts, being able to say I'm the highest paid at my position is a way of saying I'm the best at my position. And I think any one of you would appreciate that. So the new standard in the NFL is this tag. And a lot of guys are chasing this tag. In fact, right now, 2 players are chasing this tag. The highest paid non-quarterback. It's a new term, it's a new standard, but it's an understandable standard. The highest paid non-quarterback. And it's an interesting way of looking at everybody else. Well, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? I'm piecing this together. Tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I've pieced this together. Okay, what if Jerry Jones does exactly what Mike Florio said, what Jones, the genius deal maker, likes to brag about? He keeps waiting. And he waits because of what he does. It's cool, right? I'll show them. And he waits and waits and waits, and he waits till training camp and beyond. You know, whatever the last minute deadline is to sign a player, he keeps waiting and waiting. You know what's going to happen? Well, shockingly, the value isn't going down. Okay? The value is going to go up. So it's entirely possible, if not probable, that the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys, the owner of the Cowboys, will employ the highest paid quarterback per season in the NFL and the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. And, ready for it, he'll have both on a team that won't even make the playoffs. That's pretty incompetent, if you ask me. I mean, think about that. I mean, it's on a collision course. And the reason why it's a collision course, because a lot of people think that TJ Watt, who plays the same position as Micah Parsons, right? That is the defensive, sexiest, highest paid position in the sport. They are the quarterbacks. They are the superstars of defense now. Guys that can sack the quarterback. That's not new. And so TJ Watt of the Steelers is holding out. The Steelers aren't going to let him go. They don't want to let him go. And so his agent is probably chasing the tag, highest paid non-quarterback in the sport. Well, guess what? Micah Parsons, who's much younger and a heck of a player, he's a great young player. There's no doubt about that. He's a guy you want to keep around, or you trade him. You have 2 options again. You have the exact same thing setting up again. If you wanted to rebuild your team with more players, more good players, which is how the Cowboys eventually won championships while Jerry Jones was owning the team, they traded a guy, one player, and got 6 to 8 really good players, and they won championships. So you could trade Micah Parsons. Some might think it's crazy, but if you wanted to rebuild your franchise, that's what you would do. Or you pay him, and you hurry up and do it because he gets expensive. Those are your 2 options. Exactly the same scenario as what Jones faced with Dak Prescott. And he's going to wait. He'll have the 2 highest paid players. He'll have the highest paid quarterback and the highest paid non-quarterback and not make the playoffs. Is that good management? You think that's pretty smart? Aha! Look what I did. I'm paying the most. Yeah, you showed them, boss. Then I want you to take it a step further. If you just keep looking at their roster, so he would have the highest paid quarterback, the highest paid player in the NFL next season, per season. He'll have the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL next season. He'll have the 3rd highest paid wide receiver next season. And very soon he's going to have by far the highest paid kicker in the sport. And that's next season or the one after that. And still not make the playoffs. Would you call that good management? Would you call that good money management? What would you call that exactly?